Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Yende. Take a moment and look at what you're wearing right now. A shirt, a dress, a jacket, a pair of shoes. Most likely you see them as passive objects, simple layers of fabric designed to keep you comfortable, protect you from the environment, and help you appear appropriately dressed in society. But what if, within the next 20 years, clothing becomes something completely different? What if your shirt could detect stress before you even feel it? What if your jacket could monitor heart function in real time? What if your clothes could track hydration, inflammation, recovery, body temperature, emotional state, and even cognitive performance? What if fashion becomes medicine? What if clothing becomes a living interface between your biology and artificial intelligence? Today, we're exploring the future of smart clothing and why the next wearable revolution may not be on your wrist or your finger, but woven directly into the fabric surrounding your body. For most of human history, clothing has served three primary purposes: protection, identity, status, protection from heat, cold, rain, sunlight, identity through culture, religion, profession, and status through symbols of wealth, power, and belonging. But for the first time in history, clothing is evolving into something entirely new: a biological operating system. Let's start with a simple observation. The average person wears clothing for 16 to 18 hours every day. Far longer than they wear a smartwatch, far longer than they wear headphones, far longer than most other technologies they interact with. That makes clothing one of the most intimate technologies humans possess. And engineers have taken notice. If sensors can be embedded into fabric, health monitoring suddenly becomes continuous, invisible, effortless, and scalable. Imagine a shirt capable of continuously monitoring your heart. Tiny conductive fibers woven directly into the fabric record ECG signals, not once per day, not once per hour, every second, every beat, every subtle variation in rhythm. Artificial intelligence analyzes those signals in real time, looking for patterns that may signal trouble, detecting abnormalities long before symptoms appear. The shirt becomes a medical device without ever looking like one. Now imagine athletic clothing, not merely tracking steps or calories burned, but measuring muscle activation, movement efficiency, fatigue, recovery, hydration status, lactate accumulation, respiration, body temperature. Athletes already spend millions trying to optimize performance, prevent injury, and accelerate recovery. Future smart clothing may transform every workout into a real-time physiological laboratory. Every movement becomes data. Every training session becomes measurable. Every recovery period becomes visible. But things become even more fascinating when we enter neuroscience. What if clothing could detect stress? Not just emotional stress in the everyday sense, but biological stress, the kind reflected in your body before your mind fully registers it. Changes in heart rate variability, skin conductance, breathing patterns, microtemperature fluctuations. Together, these biomarkers form a physiological fingerprint. The nervous system leaves clues everywhere, and smart clothing may eventually learn how to read them. Imagine receiving a notification. Your body entered sympathetic overdrive 30 minutes ago. Recovery recommended. Before your conscious mind even realizes you're under pressure, your clothing already knows. This is where fashion begins merging with neuroscience. The future isn't simply about collecting more data. It's about understanding biology at a deeper level. The goal isn't only to tell you what happened. The real goal is to predict what happens next. This is preventive medicine rather than reactive medicine. Earlier, awareness. Faster intervention, smarter decisions. Now let's talk about emotional clothing. Yes, emotional clothing. It sounds like science fiction, but researchers are already developing fabrics capable of responding to environmental and physiological signals. Color-changing textiles, temperature-adaptive materials, mood-responsive garments, clothing that reacts to sunlight, humidity, movement, and potentially even emotional state. Imagine clothing that subtly changes appearance based on stress levels, surrounding conditions, or social context. Fashion becomes dynamic. No longer fixed, no longer static, but alive. And then comes artificial intelligence, the true game changer. Today, fashion companies analyze trends. Tomorrow, AI may analyze you, your physiology, your preferences, your sleep, your recovery, your environment, your daily activities, and then recommend not just what looks good, but what performs best for your body and your life. Imagine waking up. Your AI system knows you slept poorly, your HRV is reduced, your recovery is low, your stress markers are elevated. The system recommends specific clothing optimized for comfort, thermal regulation, and reduced sensory load. Fashion becomes personalized healthcare. Now let's take an even bigger leap. The future wardrobe may function as a health ecosystem. Your smart ring, your clothing, your phone, your home, your vehicle, all communicating, all sharing physiological information. Your shirt detects elevated temperature. Your ring detects increased resting heart rate. Your AI assistant notices a downward trend in recovery. A recommendation appears. Potential illness detected. Increased recovery. This is no longer fashion alone. This is continuous health intelligence. And perhaps nowhere is this more relevant than in aging. The global population is growing older at an unprecedented rate. Millions of people are living independently while managing chronic health conditions. Future smart clothing may continuously monitor fall risk, mobility, balance, cardiovascular health, respiratory function. Without requiring complicated medical equipment or constant clinical visits, healthcare moves from hospitals into everyday life, into the home, into the body's daily routine, into the fabric itself. Now let's address an important concern: privacy. Because the moment clothing becomes intelligent, serious questions arise. Who owns the data? Who controls the information? Who can access it? How securely is it stored? The future of smart clothing will not simply be a technological challenge. It will be an ethical one. The most valuable data in the world may soon be biological data, and protecting it will become essential. Another fascinating transformation involves identity. For centuries, fashion has communicated who we are: our taste, our culture, our profession, our place in society. Future fashion may communicate how we are, not merely profession, not merely status, but physiological state, recovery, energy, health, performance, readiness. The boundaries between appearance and biology may begin to disappear. And then we arrive at the ultimate question: will smart clothing make us healthier? The answer depends on how we use it. Technology itself is neutral. A sensor cannot create health. Data cannot create wellness by itself. Information alone rarely changes behavior. But awareness creates opportunity, and opportunity creates choice. The future of smart clothing may help us understand ourselves in ways previous generations never could. Perhaps one day your shirt will know you're stressed before you do. Your jacket will know you're dehydrated before you feel thirsty. Your clothing will know you're becoming sick before symptoms appear. And your wardrobe may become one of the most powerful healthcare tools ever invented. Not because it replaces doctors, not because it replaces medicine, but because it brings biology into daily awareness. The future of fashion isn't just about looking better. The future of fashion is about understanding ourselves better. Because the next generation of clothing may not simply cover the human body, it may become part of the human operating system. I'm Dr. Yende. This is OXYZEN Health Intelligence, and before I leave you with one question: if your clothing could continuously monitor your health, stress, sleep, recovery, and biological age, would you wear it? Or would that feel like too much information? Let us know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next episode.